Hey guys, I know you guys are in algebra class, but today we get to do some geometry. Woo! I just saw Emily's face and it was not a good one. Don't worry, it's going to be fun. It's called the Pythagorean theorem. What is a theorem? A theorem is something you'll be using in geometry. It's a statement that has been proved to be always true. So this is always going to be true with the Pythagorean theorem. So learn it now. Maybe you already know it. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. A and B, this is always for right triangles only, okay? C is always going to be the longest side, and I'm going to tell you, when you have an angle that's the biggest angle in a triangle, because all three angles always add up to 180 degrees, if you have a right triangle, across from the right triangle is called your hypotenuse. So I'm going to show you what that word looks like, hypotenuse. That is always going to be your biggest side, so it's always going to be smaller side plus next side equals this side. So this side squared plus this side squared equals this side squared. This is the actual formula. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. If a equals 3, b equals 4, what is c? So we're going to go like this. 3 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared, or x squared. 9 plus 16 equals c squared. 25 equals c squared. So now you have to take the square root of both sides to solve for c. And c equals the square root of 25, which is 5. This is a common right triangle, 3, 4, 5. When you get to geometry, you will start hopefully memorizing some of those. This is another common right triangle. It's going to come out perfect, 5. We'll call that A, we'll call that B, and this is always going to be C. C is always the longest side across from the right triangle. It's called a what? That's right, hypotenuse. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. 25 plus x squared equals 169. Subtract 25 from both sides, and you're going to get x squared equals 144. And hopefully you don't have to go through, well, square root of x squared equals the square root of 144. Hopefully you'll just be able to skip down and say x equals 12. Okay? Now, this is where we're going to apply what you've learned about about radicals with the Pythagorean theorem, because now this is not a perfect right triangle. I didn't even draw it nicely. It's not drawn to scale. But I've got a 1, 2, and an x. First of all, you got to determine which side is C. C is always going to be the hypotenuse, which is always the longest side. So it's going to be x. If you mess up A, B, and C, this will not work out for you. So you always have to put equals the longest side. So it's going to be equals x squared. 1 squared plus 2 squared equals x squared. 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4 equals x squared. Now here's the difference between the other problems that I just showed you is we know that 5 is not a perfect square. So you're going to say x equals the square root of 5. That's your answer, because once you take the square root of x squared, that's x. Square root of 5 is 5. Now let's say it said the square root of 8. Let's say x equals the square root of 8. What would you have to do? You would have to break that down into 2 square roots of 2. You have to break the down. So you cannot make this any different than what it is. So x equals square root of 5. All right, so you guys are going to do page 421, Pythagorean theorem, numbers 1 through 20. Thank you.
You're done?
Done?